Nature has given us all the pieces required to achieve exceptional wellness and health, but it left it to us to put these pieces together. Namaskar, welcome to Daily PT Pointers. And in this video, we are going to cover major headlines of the Hindu, Indian Express, and Press Information Bureau. So, without wasting any time, let's start today's discussion. And our first important headline is related to Jeddah. And ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि Saudi Arabia is set to host Ukraine, US, and some European countries and major developing countries including India for peace talks on Russia-Ukraine war in Jeddah. Now let's know more about Jeddah. So friends, it is situated on the eastern shore of the Red Sea and it is situated on the maritime trade route connecting the Mediterranean with India, Arabian Peninsula and Southeast Asia. And do you know friends, from 7th century AD, it was established as major port for Indian Ocean trade routes, channelizing goods to Mecca. It was also the gateway for Muslim pilgrims to Mecca who arrived by sea. Our next important headline is related to Aadiperukku, which is being celebrated today in Tamil Nadu. Now let's know more about Aadiperukku. So friends, it is also known as Adi Monsoon Festival and it falls on the 18th day of Tamil month of Adi, which is mid-July to mid-August, and it is celebrated to respect the goddess of water and nature, and goddess Parvati is honored on this day. The festival assumes added significance in Kaveri Delta region, where farmers also pay homage to Mother Nature in the form of majestic Kaveri River. Now recently, Rajya Sabha passed 3 bills and these are Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill, which allows private players to explore for atomic minerals, Forest Conservation Amendment Bill that exempts land within 100 kilometers of the country's borders from the purview of conservation laws, and exempted forest land includes land situated within 100 kilometers of international borders, line of control and line of actual control, and proposed to be used for construction of strategic projects for national security. And the last bill was Jan Vishwas Amendment of the Provisions Bill that decriminalizes several provisions in commercial laws to help ease of doing business. And it seeks to promote ease of doing business by decriminalizing minor offences through amendments in 183 provisions of 42 acts. Now recently, Ministry of Finance launched the scheme called Vivad se Vishwas 2 to effectively settle the pending contractual disputes of government and government undertaking, and ये स्कीम अनाउंस हुई थी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर के द्वारा इन दिस ईयर्स बजट. The scheme will apply to all domestic contractual disputes where one of the parties is either the government of India or an organization working under its control. And under this scheme, government will offer contractors settlements amount of up to 85% of net amount awarded. And now recently, Indian Parliament passed a law allowing government to auction and mine its newly discovered reserves of lithium among other minerals, increasing the mining of critical input for EV batteries. And under this law, lithium, along with other minerals, was removed from a previous list of atomic minerals, which prevented it from being auctioned to private companies. And these minerals were earlier only allowed to be mined by state-run companies, which meant they were mined in limited quantities and involvement of private firms could be force multiplier. And now exploration and mining of these minerals will be open to private sector, and other minerals now will be open for mining and auction include titanium, beryl, niobium and zirconium. Our next important headline is related to GST Council's recent decision, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है फ्रेंड्स क्योंकि recently Goods and Services Tax Council in its meeting decided that 28% GST on casinos and online gaming will be levied on face value, and this is expected to be implemented from 1st October. and the council will review the implementation 6 months after it comes into effect. And it also recommended certain amendments in the Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017 and Integrated Goods and Services Tax Act 2017 to provide clarity on the taxation of supplies in casinos, हॉर्स रेसिंग एंड ऑनलाइन गेमिंग। तो चलिए थोड़ा और जानते हैं जीएसटी काउंसिल के बारे में। ये एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी है विच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर मेकिंग रिकमेंडेशंस on issues related to the implementation of the goods and services tax. It makes decisions on various aspects of GST including tax rates, exemptions and administrative procedures. It played a crucial role in shaping the GST framework in India, and it consists of Union Finance Minister and representatives from all states and union territories. Now recently, Union Health Ministry has given 6 months for small manufacturers and 12 months to large units to get their World Health Organization Good Manufacturing Practices certification. Good manufacturing practices comprises mandatory standards that build and bring quality to products by way of control on material, methods, machines, processes, personnel, and facility or environment, etc. It was first incorporated in 1988 in Schedule M of the Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1945, and WHO Goods and Manufacturing Practices standards are now part of the revised Schedule M. And do you know, friends, Schedule M prescribes requirements of facilities and their maintenance, personnel, manufacture, control and safety testing, storage and transport of material, written procedures and records, traceability, etc. The draft notification was issued in 2018 to upgrade and synchronize Schedule M comparable to international standards. And do you know, friends, WHO Goods and Manufacturing Practices certification is valid for 3 years, and violation will invite cancellation of license and monetary penalty. Our next important headline is related to Article 370, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently Supreme Court started hearing the constitutional challenge to the 2019 abrogation of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir. And recently, Supreme Court observed that President's powers to notify Article 370 as inoperative will continue to hold the field even after the dissolution of erstwhile States Constituent Assembly on January 26, 1957. And do you know, friends, Clause 3 of Article 370 gave the President power to notify the article inoperative or modify it, but a provision had made it necessary that such a move would have to be recommended by the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. And in this context, court recently observed that Constituent Assembly is not a permanent body like the Parliament and the Supreme Court, and no Constituent Assembly can have an indefinite life, and the court observed that provision making Constituent Assembly's recommendation necessary before abrogation has no application. Now let's look at the timeline related to Jammu and Kashmir accession and after. So friends, on October 26, 1947, following the invasion by tribesmen supported by Pakistan Army, Maharaja Hari Singh sought Indian assistance and eventually leading him to sign Instrument of Accession. On May 27, 1949, Constituent Assembly of India cleared draft Article 370 as per the terms in the Instrument of Accession. On May 1st, 1951, Dr. Karan Singh issued a proclamation convening the Constituent Assembly for the state. In 1952, Delhi Agreement between Sheikh Abdullah and Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru expanded relationship between India and Jammu and Kashmir. On May 15, 1954, Article 35A introduced through a presidential order to protect laws passed by state legislature regarding permanent residents. And on November 17, 1957, Constitution of State of Jammu and Kashmir adopted, and it came into force on January 26, 1958. Our next important headline is related to Unmesh and Utkarsh Festival, जो कि आज inaugurate किए जाएंगे President of India के द्वारा. Unmesh is a international literature festival and Utkarsh is a festival of folk and tribal performing arts, and they both are being organized by the Ministry of Culture in association with Sahitya Academy and Sangeet Natak Academy. Now recently government introduced new category of Ayush visa for foreign nationals for treatment under Ayush systems of medicine, and accordingly necessary amendments has been made in various chapters of the visa manual 2019, and this move fulfills the proposal for introduction of special visa scheme for foreigners visiting India for treatment under Ayush systems of medicine like therapeutic care, wellness, and yoga. And do you know, friends, the move is part of India's roadmap for Heal in India initiative of the government, which is intended at promoting India as medical value travel destination. And आज की हमारी अगली headline related है पहचान स्कीम से, जो कि launch हुई थी 2016 में to provide new identity to handicraft artisans, so that benefits of various schemes are provided to the deserving artisans. And do you know, friends, Aadhaar linked Pehchan cards are issued after due verification by field functionaries of Ministry of Textiles, and Pehchan card holders can avail the benefits of all handicraft schemes implemented by Ministry of Textiles. And our next and last important headline is related to Kanya Shiksha Pravesh Utsav campaign, जो कि launch हुआ था 2022 में to re-enroll out of school adolescent girls in the age group of 11 to 14 years. And the main component of the scheme are social mobilization and awareness and incentivization of Anganwadi workers for counseling and referrals. So with this, let's conclude our today's discussion. Thanks for listening, and for regular updates, you can follow us on various social media platforms.